Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. With respect to Krishna River, which of the following statements are correct? It is the largest river in peninsular India. It rises in the Western Ghats near Mahabaleshwar in Maharashtra. Musi is the left bank tributary of Krishna. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 2 and 3 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a mention of the Krishna River. Let us try and understand what are these options. When we look into the first option is wrong. Why? That is because it is not the largest river in peninsular India. The largest river happens to be Godavari, and River Krishna happens to be the second largest river when it comes to the peninsular India. If you look into the second option, it rises in the Western Ghats near Mahabaleshwar in Maharashtra. This is a right statement. It flows through the state of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Karnataka. So it flows through about 4 states, and this can also be important from the preliminary examination point of view. Added to this, yes, Musi is the left bank tributary of Krishna. So the answer to this would be 2 and 3 only. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section which are the left bank tributaries and the right bank tributaries of Krishna River, because UPSC in the past has also asked questions about the left bank and the right bank tributaries. When you look into this article here is speaking about recusal of the judges. What do we mean by it? Recusal is nothing but, let's say for example, there is a Supreme Court judge, or it can be a High Court judge, or any of the judges in India. When they do not take part in a particular proceeding, withdraw themselves from that particular proceeding because they have conflict of interest with respect to that case, is what is called as recusal. So basically, recusal is nothing but removing that particular judge himself or by the court of law because they have a conflict of interest in that particular case. What is happening in the present situation? See, when we speak about Krishna River, we have 4 states, which is nothing but Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. We have Justice Chandrachud, who hails from Maharashtra, and we have Justice Bopanna, who comes from Karnataka, which is why they believe they have conflict of interest and they may not able to do justice when it comes to this particular case because of the bias of prejudice. So basically, because they come from the same state, they might be tilted to favor one state over the other, which is why they are engaging in the recusal. Added to this, if there is one of the parties in a particular case where this judge as an advocate might have previously represented, in such a case the judge can also recuse himself. Added to this, in a litigation, if there are party members who are directly associated to the judge, it can be the parent, it can be the wife, it can be the children or any relatives. Even in such a case, the judges can recuse themselves from that particular case. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. Mekedatu River project is a dispute between Kerala and Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. The answer to this is Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Mekedatu is a dispute between the state of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of Mekedatu. What is this Mekedatu project? This is a 9,000 crore reservoir project. This is initiated by the state government of Karnataka at the confluence of the Kaveri River and its tributary Arkavati at Untigondalu in Karnataka's Ramnagara district. So this is a project initiated by the state government of Karnataka, but then Tamil Nadu government is opposing to this particular project. So what is the objective of this particular project? Basically, it will provide drinking water to Bengaluru and neighboring areas. It will also generate power as well. Once this project is completed, it would be able to supply power to multiple districts in Karnataka. So the dispute is between the state of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements about Tashkent Declaration. It was signed between India and Pakistan following the war of 1971. The Tashkent Declaration failed to limit any possibility of a future conflict between India and Pakistan. Which of the above statements are correct? The answer to this is 2 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of Lal Bahadur Shastri. Let us try and understand what are these options. When we look into the first option, it was signed between India and Pakistan. Yes, but this was not following the war of 1971, but instead it was after the inconclusive war of 1965. And during this period of Tashkent Declaration, the Prime Minister of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri, was at the helm of the affairs. The second statement is right. That is because the Tashkent Agreement, yes, it did fail to limit any possibility of future conflict, and which is why we also have the 1971 war between India and Pakistan. What are the important pointers when it comes to the Tashkent Declaration? India and Pakistan would fall back to their previous positions. India had captured some of the territories of Pakistan. At the helm of the affairs during that period, we had the Soviet Union, which requested India to give back those areas which India had captured. So basically, India and Pakistan would fall back to their previous positions that they had held prior to the war. Neither would interfere in the internal affairs. They would not even push hatred against each other, and at the same time, they would orderly transfer prisoners of war, and the two leaders from India and Pakistan would work towards improving the bilateral relationship. During this entire proceedings, we had Lal Bahadur Shastri as the Prime Minister of India back in 1966. It was he who gave the slogan Jai Jawan Jai Kisan, and he formally ended this war with the Tashkent Agreement on 10th of January 1966, and on 11th of January 1966 we lost our former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. He established the Belur Math. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose called him the maker of modern India. National Youth Day is celebrated in his honor. The above statements describe Swami Vivekananda, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Dayanand Saraswati, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. The answer to this is Swami Vivekananda. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the PIB makes a reference to the National Youth Festival. The National Youth Festival is celebrated every year annually in order to commemorate Vivekananda's contribution to India. Born as Narendranath Datta in Calcutta in January 1863, he was influenced by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who became his guru. He became a monk and traveled all over India and the West and represented India on multiple forums. His writings and speeches did a lot to spread Hindu philosophy in West, especially Advaita Vedanta and Yoga philosophies. In 1886, he formally accepted monastic oaths. He established many mathas in India, the most important being Belur Math in Belur, Howrah district. He founded the Ramakrishna Mission in 1897, and he died in 1902 in Belur Math in West Bengal. So the personality that we were speaking with respect to those characteristics happens to be Swami Vivekananda. Now let's look into the next practice question. With reference to National Intellectual Property Rights Policy, consider the following statements. It reiterates India's commitment to Doha Development Agenda and the TRIPS Agreement. Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion is the nodal agency for regulating intellectual property rights in India. Which of the above statements are correct? The answer to this is both 1 and 2. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2017. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is Global Innovation Index. The Global Innovation Index is co-published by WIPO. We also have the Cornell University, and we also have INSEAD. This particular report is co-published by all these bodies, and this happens to be an annual ranking which speaks about the innovation capabilities and performance of different countries world over. So remember, this is co-published by WIPO, Cornell University and INSEAD, and this basically tries to understand how the country has evolved, what contributions it had made to the world when it comes to the innovation. The index is computed by taking about 7 pillars. 2 pillars are called as the innovation output sub-index. The 5 pillars are called as innovation input sub-index. So it bases its arguments on the basis of input as well as the output when it comes to the innovation. What happens at the input level? It considers what are the institutions that are present in a country, how much of capital resource, human capital and research goes into the innovation, is the infrastructure provided by the country, what is the market sophistication, are they able to get the credit, are they able to get the investments, are there the venture capitalists who are helping the startup ecosystem. And it further speaks about the business sophistication, which is about the knowledge workers, innovation linkages and knowledge absorption as well. So this is speaking about the capacity of the people working in a particular country, are they able to add value into the system. So if we are speaking about all these inputs, the data is collected and ultimately a ranking would be declared on the basis of input as well as the output. So if we are considering the output innovation, it speaks about knowledge and the technology outputs. So you add in the inputs, what is that you're able to generate with these inputs is what is considered by the global innovation index. It also takes into picture the creative outputs, which consider the intangible assets, creative goods and services and online creativity. What are these intangible assets? Let's say for example, we can break them out into tangible and intangible. What are the tangible ones? Tangible ones are the ones where you are able to touch, where you are able to feel. So those creations, those innovations where you are able to touch, feel them and then you can hold them in your hands, that is what is called as innovation, which is tangible in nature. And when it comes to intangible asset, you cannot hold them, which means an application developed by people, you cannot hold them. If it is an innovation in the form of an application, you cannot hold them. So this is what is called as intangible asset. So all of this would be considered by the global innovation index and these bodies ultimately give out a ranking. When it comes to the ranking for the year 2021, India has claimed 2 spots and has been ranked 46th by the World Intellectual Property Organization. So what we are seeing is a constant rise in the trajectory of India. For the past several years, we were at about 81 in the year 2015 and now in the year 2021 we have reached 46th ranking. So we have Sri Piyush Goyal ji who says that India should be part of top 25 positions in the global innovation index. How is that India was able to improve over a period of time? That is because we were able to create a startup ecosystem. We were able to get political support and there were private research organizations as well. Added to it, we also have the scientific departments from the government like the Department of Atomic Energy, the Department of Science and Technology, the Department of Biotechnology, the Department of Space. They also contributed to the innovations in India. So this is why India was able to contribute and has seen a growth when it comes to the innovation. So the top performers according to this particular index for the year 2021 happens to be Switzerland, followed by Sweden, US and UK. It is this that we have to understand in reference to the Global Innovation Index. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.